Hi, I know this is like really late and probably no one even cares about this anymore, but I don't care. Well, that's it. Stranger Things has finally concluded after nearly a decade. I think the best way I would describe Season 5 is if Season 1 and Season 4 had a baby, but it turns out that Season 1 wasn't the father and Season 4 cheated on Season 1 with Season 2. That's what Season 5 is. The general feelings on the ending and 5th season as a whole are honestly pretty mixed, but this video isn't about their opinions. It's about mine, and that's all that matters here. You're free to have your own opinions about the finale, but don't yell at me for having mine and I won't yell at you for having yours, okay? I'm not going to summarize each episode like I'd usually do because the episodes are basically movies and it already takes me 15 minutes to get through one. Imagine how long it'll take me to get through 8. So I'm just going to focus on certain plot points, characters, relationships, and things that I wish they had done or done differently. This is going to take a while, so let's get right on it. I wanted to wait until all the episodes were out because I thought it'd be more fair to the season, and considering things fell pretty hard after Volume 2, I think that was a good call on my part. And now that all the episodes are out, what do I think? Well, I think it's generally good. I liked a lot about it, but it also has quite a few flaws. First, let's talk about things I liked about the season.
Personally, for us, I like Dick.
I liked a lot of the character groupings, especially the ones that we've never seen before, like Will and Robin. I loved basically any scene they were in, and I think Robin might be my favorite character in Season 5 along with Max. Speaking of, Max and Holly. I really liked their dynamic, and it was honestly one of my favorite parts of the season. They kind of felt like sisters, in a way. It was nice to see Mike and Nancy actually be siblings for once, and I'm honestly shocked it took this long for it to happen. There were also a lot of great character moments. I mean, we all know the ending of Sorcerer. I liked when Holly was leading the kids through the mine shaft in the finale when they were all running from Vecna, pretty much just like Mike was when they were trying to get the kids out of the Max-E. Karen's wine bottle thing and blowing up the Demodogs in the hospital was honestly more than I thought she would ever do, and I respect the hell out of her for it. One of my favorite scenes in the whole season was Max waking up and her and Lucas's reunion. Usually I don't really care for couples in TV shows or movies, but this one just hits different. Max for life. There were so many cool ideas this season. I thought the Demovision was cool, and although Demogorgons don't have eyes, I'm sure their hearing is good enough that it's as if they had eyes. The whole upside down is actually a wormhole thing was definitely not something I was expecting from the show. I do feel like it did get a lot more sci-fi, just like it lost the horror element, like, completely, I feel. And it was kind of just turned into a sci-fi show, especially with the wormhole thing, which is cool. Like, you know, that's fine. But, I do kind of miss the scary. I thought the way Max and Holly traveled through the memories in Vecna's mind was really cool and interesting, and we got more backstory on Vecna and how he got his powers and why he formed a connection with the Mind Flayer in the first place. The season had a lot of cool scenes and moments for characters to shine. Even Jonathan, who I'm sure most people completely forgot even existed. I'm going to be focusing on 3 episodes in particular. Sorcerer, The Bridge, and The Right Side Up, of course, mainly because I have the most to say about those 3. Let's start with Sorcerer. In my fandom video, I was going to have a section where I talked more about the whole Stranger Things Day promo where they had a video showing Mike with a candlestick, Dustin with a shield, Lucas with a wrist rocket, and Will holding his hands out like this. People were saying that it meant he was going to get powers, and I was going to go over how dumb that was. I'm glad I ended up not doing that, because I'd be looking pretty darn stupid right now. Yeah. Will gets powers at the end of Sorcerer, no big deal. This kind of felt like the new Max floating meme to me, although I doubt it was actually as big. The Max floating meme reached me even outside the fandom. I don't know if this did the same for others, but it was cool as hell. And Sorcerer has some of my favorite moments from the whole season, maybe even the show. It's probably my favorite episode from Season 5, and from the looks of it, everyone else's too. Okay, there is one tiny continuity error in the flashback sequence when Will and Jonathan are building Castle Byers during the day with a seemingly clear sky, even though it was supposed to be a rainy night. But it's fine. It's not important. It's not that important. Okay, now let's talk about episode 7.
Guys! Come back! Guys! No! Come back! Ah!
I feel the need to talk about this specific episode along with the finale because holy was it polarizing. This is the episode where Will finally comes out as gay, and I personally don't have any big problems with the scene itself. Do I think it was terribly timed? Yeah, a little, but I honestly can't really think of when else it could have happened without it feeling super sudden and just shoved in there. Do I think there were too many people? There's, of course, Joyce, Jonathan, and Will's close friends. I like that Robin was there because she really helped Will through this whole thing, and I'm glad we got to see her reaction. Well, I do think Callie should have beat it back to the Upside Down, and Murray should have been swapped out for Hopper, but other than that, I think it was fine. I think it's a fine scene. I didn't feel like it was cringy or that the monologue was bad. I've seen people clown on the "I don't like girls" line, but honestly, I think it would have been worse if they had used a label. I don't want to be one of those people who are just like, ew, labels. I hate labels. I mean, I do hate labels, but I've seen so many coming out scenes where they just say, I'm gay, I'm bisexual, I'm trans. And I feel like so many of them lack the emotional depth that they should have because they just say it so plainly, and usually that is just it. Like, a lot of the ones I've seen, they don't actually have a sit down talk, and it's kind of just focused on the label. I don't know if that's making sense, but like, it feels like it's focused more on the label itself and just that instead of love and how it's normal. If that even makes sense. I don't know. I guess it was just refreshing to have a coming out scene like this and not have them say a label. But that's just me. They did it that way with Robin's too, which I honestly do like more than this one, but that's besides the point. I feel that especially if it had been done in this case, it would have just made me go, oh, come on, you know? I didn't feel it was out of nowhere, and I can think of a few coming out examples where it is just out of nowhere, and this isn't one of them. People don't like it because he came out to everyone, and that it should have been with just his family and close friends, which, I mean, yeah, I do think coming out to 13 people at once is a bit much. Also, that he came out of fear, while Robin's arc this whole season has basically been telling Will to not be afraid of who he is. But here's the thing. Coming out is already terrifying on its own. Even if it's just to one person, it can be nerve-wracking and scary because you could lose that person if they don't accept you. So coming out to a whole group of people knowing you could lose every single one of them definitely takes some courage. Will could have just told Mike to beat it and only came out to his mom. He actually was only supposed to come out to his mom in the original draft, but didn't because the writers felt it just didn't feel right, I guess. I don't know. And considering the reception, maybe he should have. But he chose to come out to everyone because he knew he had to get over that fear, and he wanted to, otherwise he wouldn't have done it. And why would you do something that you don't want to do? People also say he was forced to come out by Vecna, but again, he could have just not told Joyce or anyone. Or maybe I'm just looking at it the completely wrong way and everyone else is right and I just don't know what good writing is. There's always that possibility. There are even some gay people who don't like it because it just feels off. And while I don't understand what they mean by that, well, maybe it's that it's just like awkward because there's, 13 people. I still value their opinion on it because if anyone has a right to harp on this, it's them. If there is one redeeming quality about the scene, in my opinion, it's the acting. It just felt so real to me in a way that I was able to connect with, but that's just how I felt. I don't know about others. Is this how I would have written it? Probably not. But I can say with absolute certainty that my monologue would have sucked ass. We got what we got, and we're just gonna have to accept it. And if it bothers you so much, fix it into fanfiction or something, I don't know. Okay, now that I've got my opinion out there, let's see what everyone else thought. Oh my god. Yeah, it didn't go very well, as you can see. Which really sucks, because it's not even that it's a bad episode. It's just that the coming out scene was so goddamn polarizing. After doing some research, I have compiled the 4 different kinds of 1-star reviews of Season 5, Episode 7, The Bridge. Homophobes from Saudi Arabia, conservatives who think that anything that has to do with gay people in the media is woke propaganda, Byler shippers who decided that Episode 7 was going to be the episode because of some letters and numbers on a box in the background of a scene from Season 4. I'm not kidding, that's actually how they landed on it. And conspiracy theorists who want Netflix to release the fabled Volume 2 files with 2+ hours of cut scenes from the show and thought review bombing was how they were going to get them. If you're wondering what MW705 actually is, it's a projector. A projector. I'm going to talk about the ending now because I just have to get this out there. I think the ending itself is really nice. I like how they showed where everyone ended up and Holly and her friends coming down to the basement and playing D&D, like how the main kids did in the beginning. And the final D&D game with the main kids just like in the beginning, including Max. I thought it was interesting that they left Eleven's end ambiguous, and you can choose if she did die or not, since there's evidence supporting both theories. I personally think she survived, but that's just my theory. Remember that creature with the gaping mouth Nancy mentioned in her vision? Yeah, that was this thing. This is the Mind Flayer. The true Mind Flayer. I think this is awesome. Yes, they beat it in 6 minutes, but it didn't feel too rushed to me. Nothing did, honestly. Maybe there were some things that moved a bit fast, but I don't think it ruined it for me. I liked when Joyce was decapitating Vecna and it showed everyone flashing to their past trauma with him. I was shocked that basically everyone survived. And there are people who are pissed because the writers are cowards who don't commit to anything and there should have been death. But the only two that would have really hit are Dustin and Steve, and let's face it, no one wanted that. I know that deep down everyone wanted all the characters to make it out, because we love these characters. We've been with them for almost a decade, and I would have been devastated if any of them had been the dust. Maybe I don't value good storytelling, but I don't care if not killing off characters makes the writers cowards. I'm just glad all my favorites made it out and can now live long, happy lives. Though I don't have any real problems with the ending itself, I do have problems with the season as a whole. I have one big criticism with this season. I feel like they could have done more. This mostly has to do with things I thought they were going to explore and expand on, like characters, character relationships and dynamics, plot points from seasons past, basically just everything. For example, I thought we were going to see more of Will in the Upside Down from season 1. Thought we were going to get flashbacks or something, and that would be a big recurring thing. Even if it was just an info dump from Vecna, at least it would have answered all the questions that I had and still have about Will's time in the Upside Down. Why did all the other kids get taken directly where Vecna needed them to be while Will got away and stayed away for a whole week? Why did all the other kids have the vine just attached to their mouths, meanwhile Will's was all the way down in his stomach and he literally died while they were all fine? There was clearly something that made him different, and I thought they would explore that, but they didn't. How did the Demogorgon even get Will to the Upside Down if we saw no visible gate in the shed, while a gate was there for literally everybody else? How did it even get in the shed in the first place without a visible gate? Who opened the lock chain? Because I know it wasn't the Demogorgon, because they can't do that. I also feel the overall connection between Will and Vecna and the Upside Down could have gone a lot deeper. Of course it was important, but not in the way I thought it would be. I feel like they didn't even really acknowledge how similar Will and Vecna were as kids, even though it looked like they were building that up in season 4. I guess it was just to show that this is what Will could have become if he didn't have people around him who loved him. Which, like, okay, kind of boring, but alright. I honestly thought they were gonna have a Horcrux thing, considering all the Harry Potter comparisons that have been going on for literal years. I was just under the impression that it'd play a much larger role than it did. What happened to Dr. Owens? Is he dead? Is he in military captivity? What's going on with that? Where did Susie end up? We didn't see her at all. Not even a mention. Like, there's no way she and Dustin are still together. It was also surprising that literally everyone survived. I think there should have been at least some permanent scars for everyone after that final battle. Like, you're seriously telling me that no one got hurt in a remotely permanent way? Like, no one, like, fell off the cliff or something and, like, got paralyzed? Like, or no one got, like, flung and got paralyzed? Or maybe the trauma was enough, I don't know. I think it would have made it more tense and maybe raised the stakes if a few Demogorgons had been dispatched during the battle to go after the other characters. 11 was basically reduced to a side character, and then they kill her off at the end, when she hardly even did anything up until the end, especially with other people. Mike, Hopper, and Callie are the 3 people we've seen her with the most. Obviously, she's close with everyone else, but maybe she should have interacted with everyone else more just over the course of the season for her death to really hit. Also, battle was never going to happen, quit whining. I've seen many people say the battle was too short and the epilogue was too long, and I saw someone complain about how it didn't commit to anything, and maybe they're a bit right about the battle being short. I mean, it basically went like this. Characters get to the abyss, Will tweaks out, characters go to the structure to get kids, Will tries to give Vecna redemption, but Vecna's just like,
no thanks. I choose my own destiny.
Structure turns into a giant spider monster, 11 shows up, 6 minutes of chaos, we win. But aside from that, it honestly just kind of reminded me of how Gravity Falls ended. Now, I love Gravity Falls, don't get me wrong. I think it's a truly amazing show, especially for a Disney animated cartoon aimed at children. And I think the last 2 episodes were actually one big last episode that Disney ended up splitting into 2 later, which is why the final confrontation at the start of episode 41 is like 5 minutes, and the rest of the episode is epilogue. But I saw them as separate episodes, so I will be treating treating them as such. Spoilers for the ending of Gravity Falls, Grunkle Stan has to have his mind wiped with Bill in it to destroy him forever, which didn't even really work, by the way, and it's really emotional when the kids realize that he's essentially gone and try to make him remember them. Ford even says he doesn't know it, but he saved the world, or something like that. Then they take him to their house and show him a photo album from the summer, and he just starts remembering himself again. When that happened, I just couldn't help but think, oh, okay. After a battle of that scale, it makes sense that there would be at least some sort of tragic loss at the end. In this case, Stan. But then they turned around and just erased everything that Weirdmageddon caused, and I'm pretty sure it created some sort of plot hole in the ending. But it's the highest rated episode of the entire show, so clearly this is just a me problem. It's also a Disney cartoon, so I guess they couldn't actually do anything because it's for kids. We can't have sadness. I just found I felt similar about these two endings. One people love, one people feel disappointed by. I think both are nice. I think both had a tragic loss set up that they ended up backpedaling, and I think both still left unanswered questions. Except with Gravity Falls, I don't lay awake at night thinking about them because they weren't that important in the grand scheme of the show. Well, that's what I think about Stranger Things 5 as a whole. I guess if I'm really that disappointed with it, I could just write my own season 5 that has everything I wanted and answers all the questions I have. Nothing's stopping me, except maybe my own self-respect. But those are just my answers. My truth. I want the truth, you know? But I'm never gonna get them, will I? Now I'm just stuck with that graphic novel from like 6 years ago that's not even canon. Even though I just listed all the problems I have with the season, I didn't hate it. I liked it. I definitely did. I didn't think it was rushed, but if you did, that's probably because the entire story takes place over 72 hours while all the other seasons happen over a full week. It was November 6th for literally like 3 whole episodes. Max was still fresh out of a coma when they saved the world. Overall, I think it's a solid season of television, but I also feel that it could have been so much better. I feel all the marketing for it and how long we had to wait and just how good season 4 was led to people having really high expectations, and that's why it seems to have fallen short of so much. I hate that the show had to end this way, especially with the reception it got, but then I think, could I have written a better ending myself? No. Absolutely not. I'm happy with the ending. I just wish there was more leading up to it. Hey, so just wanted to also add on some little things. Derek, great character. Loved him so much. He was great. On the writing, I didn't touch on this. On the writing, I don't think I saw people say that like Volume 2's writing was bad. I didn't really feel any glaring difference in the writing, like dialogue or otherwise. I mean, it felt normal. It didn't really feel too different, like in a like for better or worse, like that just to me. Or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make a video next month. I'll have to find something. But if I can't find anything, maybe I'll just play a Roblox game or whatever. Just a little, just kind of phoning it in. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to add this little part at the end, just because, you know. Anyway, yeah. Bye.
I began to pass out. Then my head hit the wall. Boom. But I had